September 12, 1944. 8,000 feet above the island of Peleliu, the Pacific sun burns through the clouds. Major Robert Cowboy Stout grips the stick of his F-6F Hellcat, camera clicking automatically as he banks over the island below. His mission? Simple. Photograph the northern airfield and return to the USS Hornet. Nothing more. But what he's about to see will change the fate of thousands. As the clouds part, Stout looks down, and his blood runs cold. The abandoned airfield below isn't abandoned at all. It's alive, crawling with movement. Dozens of Japanese aircraft, Mitsubishi Zeros and Nakajima bombers, lined up wingtip to wingtip. Ground crews swarming, fuel drums stacked like dominoes. Weapons being loaded. It's a hornet's nest ready to explode. Intelligence had said the base was destroyed weeks ago. But from the cockpit of his Hellcat, Stout counts 40 fully armed aircraft. And he knows exactly what they're waiting for. In just 3 days, 28,000 U.S. Marines will storm the beaches of Peleliu, one of the largest amphibious assaults of the Pacific War. The invasion fleet is already on its way. These planes are poised to strike, ready to tear through landing craft, bomb transports, and massacre men before they ever reach shore. Stout knows the protocol: observe and report. No attacking, no heroics. Just photographs, then back to base. Command will decide what to do, but command is hours away. By the time his photos are processed and a strike force is prepared, these aircraft will be hidden, dispersed, or worse, launched. And in that moment, Stout realizes something chilling. If he follows orders, the Marines will die. He circles higher, scanning the airfield again. There, the fatal mistake. The Japanese have parked their planes too close together, surrounded by open fuel drums. A single spark could ignite the whole base. Stout checks his ammunition. 650 caliber Browning machine guns. 2,400 rounds total. Only 12 seconds of sustained fire. Not enough to destroy 40 planes individually, but maybe enough to light a fuse that burns them all. His heart pounds. Sweat runs beneath his oxygen mask. Every instinct screams, "Don't do it." But he's seen what happens when Marines land under enemy air attack. He'd watched it at Tarawa, burning landing craft, bodies in the surf. He can't let that happen again. He takes a deep breath and pushes the throttle forward. The Hellcat dives. The altimeter spins down 7,000 feet, 4,000, 2,000. He levels off just above the treetops, racing over the jungle canopy at nearly 400 miles an hour. The airfield bursts into view ahead. Ground crews look up, confused. Too late. Stout squeezes the trigger. 6 machine guns thunder in unison, the roar deafening even through his headset. Tracers slice through the air, ripping into the first row of Zeros. Fuel sprays from ruptured tanks. Then he hits the fuel drums. The explosion is instant. A blinding flash. A wall of fire erupts behind him. The shockwave slams into his aircraft, rocking the Hellcat as he pulls up hard. Flames leap 50 feet into the air. One burning Zero ignites another and another. In seconds, half the northern airfield is a raging inferno. Japanese mechanics scatter, some running for cover, others frozen in disbelief. Anti-aircraft gunners finally reach their stations. Tracer fire whips past the canopy. The Hellcat shudders as 20mm rounds punch holes in its tail. Warning lights flare across the panel. But the engine keeps roaring. He's alive. For now. He climbs, circles once, smoke filling the sky below. Half the airfield is burning, but the southern row of bombers is untouched. He checks his ammo, half gone. Maybe 6 seconds of fire left. Every rational thought says, turn back. But rationality has no place here. He rolls inverted, dives again. This time, the gunners are ready. Tracer fire fills the air, a storm of red and white streaks. Stout weaves and jinks, barely staying ahead of the deadly curtain of fire. He lines up the bombers, squeezes the trigger. His last rounds tear through wings, engines, and fuel tanks. Then his bullets find a fuel truck. The explosion is enormous. The truck detonates like a bomb, flipping a bomber onto its back and igniting the row beside it. Ammunition cooks off in a chain of secondary blasts. The airfield vanishes beneath a sheet of fire. Stout's guns go silent. Empty. He pulls up, fighting the damaged controls. Smoke trails behind him. The Hellcat's hydraulics groan, instruments flicker. But below him, the mission is complete. Every aircraft, every drum, every structure gone. A single man, one aircraft, 8 minutes of hell. The entire Japanese airfield consumed in fire. Stout turns toward the sea. His aircraft limps back toward the USS Hornet. Oil pressure falling. Control surfaces sluggish. He doesn't know if his landing gear will even deploy. Minutes stretch into hours. His adrenaline fades, replaced by the weight of what he's done. He's disobeyed direct orders. Instead of taking photos, he waged a one-man war. Court-martial is likely, maybe worse. But he also knows one thing. If he's right, he's just saved the lives of thousands of Marines. The Hornet finally appears on the horizon. He radios the tower. Aircraft damaged. Request emergency landing. The carrier turns into the wind. His landing gear lowers, partially. One wheel refuses to lock. He comes in hot, hooks the second arresting wire, and slams onto the deck so hard the fuselage buckles. Deck crews rush to his plane, stunned. The tail is shredded. The wings are full of holes. The paint is blackened by fire. Stout climbs down, exhausted, and faces a crowd of officers. What the hell happened out there? The air boss demands. Stout simply says, the airfield wasn't abandoned. It was full of aircraft preparing to attack the invasion fleet. I destroyed them. 40 planes. Gone. 8 minutes. One pilot. At first, no one believes him. But the next day, reconnaissance photos confirm it. The entire northern airfield at Peleliu reduced to ashes. Every aircraft destroyed. The Japanese air threat eliminated before the battle even began. For his actions, Major Robert Cowboy Stout receives the Navy Cross, the second highest decoration for valor. His official citation reads, "For extraordinary heroism and aggressive fighting spirit in attacking superior enemy forces alone." Military historians later estimate that his decision saved between 500 and 1,000 lives on the first day of the Peleliu landings. Without his attack, those aircraft would have devastated the invasion fleet. Instead, the Marines landed under clear skies. The Battle of Peleliu was still brutal. Over 2 months of savage fighting across coral ridges and caves. Nearly 2,000 Americans were killed. But without those Japanese planes, the toll could have been far worse. After the war, Stout returned to California. He lived quietly, raised a family, and rarely spoke about the war. The Navy Cross stayed in a drawer, never displayed. When asked about the attack, he'd shrug and say, "I saw planes that needed destroying, so I destroyed them. Any pilot would have done the same." But the truth is, most wouldn't have. Most would have followed orders, radioed back, and waited. By then, it would have been too late. Decades later, historians rediscovered his mission reports and photos. When they pieced together what really happened, they realized the scale of his courage. 1 man, 1 plane, 8 minutes, 40 enemy aircraft destroyed. Over 1,000 lives saved. Cowboy Stout's story is now studied in military academies as a lesson in initiative over obedience. He wasn't rewarded because he followed orders. He was honored because he understood the intent behind them, to protect his fellow soldiers, and acted when no one else could. Sometimes, true courage isn't in following the rules. It's in knowing when to break them. So the next time you face a moment when doing what's right means going against the book, remember Major Robert Cowboy Stout, alone over Peleliu, diving straight into hell, because he knew lives depended on it.